Ballistic, Ecks versus Sever.
This one, I won't lie, I watched last night and maybe fell asleep during, like, was nodding off during parts of it. So
Yeah, I don't blame you for nodding off.
I think I did too when I watched it.
Well, I managed to sit through the whole thing. I focused very heavily on it. It was hard.
Nice. It was.
You're stronger than the rest of us.
I think I can piece this movie together. I mean, about as well as anybody could, I guess. There's just okay. Well, all right. Yeah, let's do that. So, you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Let me just drink some water real quick. Hello and welcome to A Couple of Flicks. I am Tristan.
I am Nick.
And I'm Zach.
All right. And we're reviewing every film on the bottom 100 IMDB list. This one is called Ballistic, Ecks versus Sever. And it came out in, I want to say, 2000?
2002.
02, yeah.
Okay, 2002. It stars. It actually has a good, like, couple of leading actors. Arguably, you have Antonio Banderas, who is pretty well respected and well loved. Yeah, I mean, even today he's still like. I mean, recently he did Pain and Glory.
He's still good, yeah. But he was bigger back then, I'd say.
Back then, he was doing like Desperado and like Once Upon a Time in Mexico, and he was also in like the Spy Kids movies. But then aside from that,
Zorro.
he was Zorro. So he actually had done some decent stuff in America. But then like overseas, he was well respected for the films he did with Pedro Almodovar as well. And I mean, the guy's had, he's pretty internationally well loved, and he was pretty well loved at the time as well here for sure. Let's see. And then you also have Lucy Liu, who she at the time again was pretty well loved. I feel like because she was in Charlie's Angels, and then I feel like she was in something else too that was well loved.
Kill Bill.
Oh yeah, she was in Kill Bill. Although that was after Ballistic, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, but regardless, like she was in Kill Bill, and then I feel like there was something else, but I don't remember what it was. So oh well. Anyway, so it stars those two. And
I know recently she's been in something we did recently. She's done a Sherlock show for CBS. She's
Ooh.
Watson.
Oh, excellent! I'm curious about that. So.
Yep. Yeah, I mean it's a CBS show though, so it's not like anything. It's procedural type. Yeah. Sherlock Holmes, not as interesting as the. I haven't watched it, but it went on for a decent amount of time, like 7 seasons, 7 years, or something like that. But.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I think I've seen I think I may have seen like an ad for it, but I don't think I've ever seen like, I don't know. I don't think I've ever even watched an episode or, no. But I am curious though, because I actually do like Lucy Liu. I am kind of curious to see like maybe like her take on a little bit more like of a depth, like more depth, and not like just constantly do action movies. Because some of her roles have been kind of interesting, in my opinion. So.
I mean, as a fan of the Sherlock movies, I was interested. I mean, kind of interested, but just a CBS procedural. So I was like, it's gonna be like CSI type stuff that doesn't really do anything that groundbreaking.
I'm over it. Anyway, so this movie. And this movie was also directed by a gentleman by the name of Chaos.
What? What?
Kaos.
That's a state. Okay. All right. All right.
I believe he's a Taiwanese filmmaker. I looked up his films, and I
Oh,
think he did
so
like a Tekken movie,
Yeah.
and he did a couple other things, and I think he's a Taiwanese filmmaker, I believe, and this is his. Well, I don't want to say it's an American debut because I think it was filmed in Canada. It
took
seems.
place in Canada at least. Yeah.
Yeah, which is actually I'm already confused by that because like what if it would
Right.
okay
Right.
if it took place in Canada, why were the CIA and the FBI
That's exactly what I was
like
thinking. Like I was like, what? Why are you
like
guys here?
yeah like I well okay we'll get to that but okay so this movie is kind of garbage in a massive way. um I gotta say, this movie kind of gives away its entire plot in the first 5 minutes. I don't think it, and I don't know if it actually realizes that. Like, I feel like the person who edited this movie may have like botched the editing because it felt like. So first of all, like we immediately find out that the person who kidnapped the kid is a good guy, and then we spend about an hour waiting for the other good guy to find out that the person that we already know is a good guy is a good guy. That's basically the plot.
Mm-hmm.
So this
Yeah.
like barely even had a plot. It didn't even like it did. I don't. I question whether this movie even like was written. Um, because as far as like dialogue and as far as like story exposition and like the way the story progressed, like this movie like really had pretty much zero logic to it. This might have been one of the most unintelligent movies I think I've ever seen, and I don't mean that like in a good way because it doesn't seem to be aware of how unintelligent it is,
Yeah, I got that
which
feeling for sure, at least.
yeah, and it kind of made me feel really bad, like because like it made me feel like um it made me it felt like a weird like almost social experiment or something like how dumb and how oblivious can these characters be,
Mm.
and like how much can the audience take this plot seriously. Like it was really hard to even like begin to care about what was going on.
Yep.
And it's really weird because the director, I'm gonna just call him Chaos because I don't actually know how to pronounce his I think it's a stage name or a short name or a nickname or something like that.
It is.
Yeah. So it's clear to me that he knows how to direct an action scene because the one good thing I can say about this movie is that the action scenes, like at least I could tell what was going on in them. Um,
Yeah. They weren't
the, they
very
were
fun or interesting.
they weren't fun or interesting at all. They were pretty illogical, but at least they weren't like poorly shot or poorly edited.
Yeah.
Like it was basically just tons of people getting killed left and right, and that's basically it.
Yeah.
There's not really much to say about that. And it's not that hard to shoot that, but this film at least did it competently. And then the martial arts scenes where like the hand to hand fighting, which there was like barely any of, but when it did happen, there were like short bursts of it, and then there was
Yeah.
one long fight scene at the end. So it kind of had like a video game structure. The martial arts fight scenes were okay. They weren't good by any means, but again, you could tell what was going on in them. So it's clear that the person who directed this movie knew how to direct action scenes, but he has no clue how to tell a story.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Um, it felt like the people in this movie, like it felt like there was a lack of direction in how to like even present these characters or how to like do anything with these characters. Yeah, I was pretty lost throughout most of it. You know, I was mostly just trying to figure out like why these people hadn't figured out the obvious yet. You know, because it was clear who the good guys and the bad guys were. The movie made it so obvious like within the first like opening scenes. Like M. Night Shyamalan couldn't have done a more incompetent job telling a story.
Oh shit! Snap! Shots fired.
And then yeah, and then we spent an hour expecting wowed by something that the characters learn, and it never happens. Eventually, the characters just decide to suddenly make peace for no particular reason, and Lucy Liu is like, "Oh, I'm protecting him from his father," and Antonio Banderas is like, "Oh, who's his father?" Which it's no mystery who his father is. Like,
yeah, we all know. He didn't.
there's nobody else that could be. The film sets up nothing,
Right.
you know, beforehand. Antonio Banderas, at the beginning of the movie, he's a hapless drunk who's clearly miserable. And it's obvious why. He does eventually reveal, oh, like there was something that happened. He lost his kid, because early in the movie you see that he has sort of like a fondness for kids because he of the sort of brief little interaction he has with the whoever the police chief's daughter or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So at
And
that
he
moment,
asked him, "Do you love her?" I thought that was fucking stupid. He's like, "Do you love your daughter?"
yeah,
Yeah,
which
yeah. Like, no, I fucking
of
hate her.
course. Yeah. But yeah, you do love her, then quit the business or whatever. It's like
Yeah, he
it's like
said, "Then get out now," or some stupid
yeah,
shit.
some kind of like line that I've heard in a million movies just like this.
Yeah.
And let's see what else. What other stupid crap has? Oh my god, this movie's so unbelievably stupid. I can't even believe it. Like so he even has the like the what do you call it? The scuffle on his face. Like at the beginning of the movie, like he
Oh
looks
yeah.
like a wasted human being who's disillusioned on like he looks like John Travolta at the end of Blowout, just miserable and upset. Oh, I'm a broken man who's lost everything and I can't go on. I'm just hopeless. Except I'm a professional killer. Like
Right.
and so then they get him hooked up in this sort of situation where he barely even knows what he's doing. Actually, this movie kind of reminded me of Suicide Squad a little bit. Like because the story structure was basically based around people like either one person or two people who didn't know something about what they were supposed to be doing and then somehow miraculously figuring out what they're doing. There's something about a killer like virus thing, or no, it's like a death machine thing that
Is
it's like a weapon
injectable.
that shoots an injectable that poisons the person and liquefies their insides or something, some kind of Kiss of the Dragon Jet Li type of stuff,
Yeah.
which this movie so desperate wants to live up to even the quality of that, which the quality of that movie isn't that great as far as Jet Li movies go, but the movie can't even be that good. And then Lucy Liu doesn't make a very formidable hero in this, unfortunately. Her character really does nothing. We pretty much know nothing about her other than she kills a lot of people. Like she pretty much is like a mass murderer. I mean, she kills at least like
Yep.
70 people in this movie. How many people get mowed
Yeah.
down in the street, you know? Like it's just insane the
So
number
many
of people
cops
getting shot in this
dead.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the
The
only movie
backstory we got from her was like, yeah, I was gonna say the backstory we got for her was like a throwaway line. Antonio Banderas said was like, yeah, she's from China where they have a one-child policy and they
yeah.
throw away all the girls, and there's this organization that takes all the thrown away girls and trains them to be assassins of some sort. So that's
Yeah.
basically her backstory.
Right. But like I guess ultimately so she's supposed to be like a mindless killer, but like then where did her sympathy come from? Like why is she actually like being, you know, what's virtuous? Like why is she like protecting this kid from her father if she's supposed to be a hired killer. Like, even that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah,
And so you never find out why. The film doesn't really it felt like they didn't really think that far ahead. Like, they were trying to make a movie. They knew what kind of action movie they wanted to make, and they knew like how they were going to do that, but they had no clue how to tell the story. And so we're left with the movie that feels like it was assembled from spare parts. I mean, that's what it felt like to me, And so they killed the villain at the end of the movie. Spoiler, I guess. I mean, and of course, it's a smoke and steam factory as well. So it has to be another one of those type of movies. Like, how many of those have we seen? Like there's like millions of those. So it's like the same story that we've seen a million times, generic. And then Antonio Banderas. Then this was the line that pissed me off the most. Was Antonio Banderas? He's leaving, and they're like, "You're gonna let her go? She's a killer." And he's like, "No, she's a mother."
Okay.
Sequel?
I wasn't even sure if this. I thought, in the beginning, I thought this was a sequel because I came into it blind and Ballistic. I thought maybe there was just a first movie called Ballistic. And then this was Ballistic 2, technically, Ecks versus Sever, because that's what the title sounds like. But I'm assuming it's not a sequel already.
Well, if it were a sequel, then they would have an excuse.
Because they also had that, they also had that backstory that I thought was taking from clips of the first one where Antonio Banderas' wife was murdered or whatever.
Right. Which, that's totally the kind of thing that would have happened in the first movie if they had made the first movie. But no, instead, what exists, and this is where things start to get a little bit unusual. So, Zach, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there a video game made from this movie, or that this movie was made from?
Yeah, so there's two games, both for the Game Boy Advance. So the first one is just Ecks versus Sever, and it's based on an early script of the movie. So completely different script. Turned into
Maybe she was a mother in that one.
Maybe.
Yeah, but go on.
This shitty game.
Sorry.
And the other one is based on this game. And wait, is the game a sequel? I'm confused now. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. Under the reception line here, it said the sequel was considered better than Ecks versus Sever. Maybe it's considered a video game sequel, I guess. I don't know. This just confused me.
Oh, okay.
But yes.
Oh, man.
The movie? Huh.
It's so weird. But I do recall, though, I'm pretty sure it was in a Nintendo Power magazine. There was a review of I think it was called Ecks versus Sever. Maybe, I don't know if it was called Ballistic, but I think it was called Ecks versus Sever. Yeah. Or something. Or maybe it was called Ballistic after. I don't remember. But it gave it a high rating.
Okay.
But that makes me curious about it. Like, apparently this is like one of the early handheld game that actually tried to be like a contemporary console first person shooter and have the sort of 3D mechanics and stuff like that, which I'm sure if you play it now, it's probably really dated and not that good. But I'm sure at the time, though, it was probably pretty cool. And so maybe there's something to Ballistic Ecks versus Sever, but I felt kind of lost with it. Ultimately.
Oh yeah. I honestly don't remember half of the movie.
Yeah.
I can't
basically
remember the beginning and the end. In the middle is kind of hazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically just the middle is mostly just Lucy Liu shooting people. I don't even know. Really, there's nothing really much else to say. And it's the FBI CIA, whoever, fighting I think it was like the city of Montreal or like somewhere in Canada.
Vancouver, Toronto.
Yeah, Vancouver.
Yeah, Vancouver.
And that's so weird that they would take this like to their turf.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing I'll give the movie some credit for, is that they at least tried to sort of make the police force look almost like gangsters that were just trigger happy and wanting to get involved in shootouts. But there was just so much bloodshed that it just got ridiculous. The only movie the only reason this movie is rated R it's not because it's bloody, but because so many people get killed in it. Like that's the only reason why, you know. Otherwise this totally could have gotten like a PG-13, you know. The only reason it got R, people are actually getting killed, and that's it, you know. And there is a high body count, but that's like the only thing going on in this movie. Like the action scenes are totally thoughtless. Even the car chase scenes, just everything happens exactly the way you'd expect. There's some humor here and there that's not funny at all. There's a part where Lucy Liu beats up a guy who's like sort of groping a lady, and then he tries to grope Lucy Liu, which is that's probably some of the dumbest behavior I've ever seen. Is you're attacking a lady, you're already a scumbag if you're doing that, and then Lucy Liu is chasing after you. Lucy Liu, like, I don't want to get into a fight with her. I want to stay away from her. And she's charging at you in your direction. The first thing you do is you don't flirt with her. And then she breaks his nose.
Hey,
and he's like, oh, my nose. Oh. That made me laugh. I'll give the movie some credit for that. It did make me laugh.
Yeah.
But this was a pretty terrible movie otherwise. It was kind of a giant waste of time, you know. Like I was not into it. And I'd seen it before, and I was so confused because I didn't even remember I remembered the title, but then it occurred to me that it had to have been about like Antonio Banderas and Lucy Liu fighting each other, which is what they do for half the movie. But it's so stupid because they're both the heroes, so there's no point to it. Even the title like revels in the stupidity of this movie. So everything you've heard about this film is true. It's a waste of time. If you want to watch Lucy Liu shoot people, go for it. But otherwise, I wouldn't recommend it.
No, it's real boring.
Yeah.
I feel they went for like Matrix vibes as well, even though there was no sci-fi or anything. But
Yeah,
really bad.
It was another movie.
Yeah, it felt because it came out like after the Matrix, and
yeah,
like
after the Matrix,
to hit some of that steam.
After the Matrix came out, there was a tidal wave of movies that were copying the Matrix, and this is just one in many that tried to do that kind of thing. And yeah, this was
failed.
Probably possibly one of the worst examples. You know,
yeah.
like I'd say if you want to see movies that are like good that are like that, I would check out something like The Returner, which is not a good movie necessarily, only because like it's basically like just a ripoff of like 50 or 60 other movies that already exist that are way better. But I still loved The Returner because it was at least really entertaining. I can't say the same about this movie because the plot was just too stupid to be entertained by. Like you could re-edit this movie in any order and it would make exactly the same sense and have the same emotional resonance. You know, the music is just the same techno babble garbage that just felt like
so annoying. I hated the music.
Yeah. Way oversampled, way over-industrialized, way synthetic. Everything about this movie felt synthetic. Even the camera work didn't feel genuine. You know, again, it felt like the people who produced this movie got a director who knew how to make action scenes, and that's it. Whoever who was behind this movie, whether it was a video game company or whether it was the geniuses behind Franchise Pictures that made Driven by starring Sylvester Stallone, and
Lord.
Battlefield Earth starring John Travolta. This was their brainchild. So I'm going to place I'm going to blame the blame of this movie 100% on them. I'm not going to blame it on chaos. Because for all I know, they probably didn't even know how to speak his language. They probably just were like, here, make this action movie for us. And then he did, and that's it. Otherwise, this is pretty much a zero movie.
Yeah, Battlefield's on the list too. So
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
We'll be seeing
definitely
that one
looking
soon.
forward to.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to rewatching that one. So
I haven't seen it, but I've been wanting to.
Yeah, I haven't
Just for how
either.
shitty it is.
oh man, it's bad. I'm stoked. Like I'm so stoked. It's terrible. Driven's terrible too, but I don't think that's on bottom 100. So yeah, I'd give it a 1. I mean, there is a certain charm to it that maybe people who like movies like The Expendables and like stuff like that, maybe certain people can like this for the action scenes alone, but not me.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, I give it a 1.
Yep, one's all around then.
Yeah. Do either of you have anything you want to say about it, or did I pretty much cover it?
Covered it.
Pretty much covered it. Yeah, there was one stupid fight that I thought was real dumb. Was she whipped out those batons,
Yeah.
Oh,
started beating people? I thought that was so bad because it just looked real bad. She was just
that wasn't very
flailing them at
funny.
one point. Not even any type of cool move. She was just kind of flailing them around. Bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, that wasn't fun. The sound design was pretty ridiculous too. It was just like,
Yeah.
and then they shoot people, and they just go. They like it, you can't even take it seriously. They shoot people, and the people are just like, no, no.
Yep.
no."
I'm hit.
It's just like this is like a video game. It's like when
Yeah.
when you play GoldenEye and you shoot people, and they go, die, die. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You know? Ah!
Yeah.
This movie, it gets pretty funny actually. Like maybe a drinking game could be made out of this. Like most generic, cliched like action movie tropes in one movie. Like
Yeah.
oh man, it'd be so deadly. But
Yeah. Get
I
hammered.
mean that's the one thing
10-minute
this
mark.
movie might have going for it. Yeah, and I want to get the DVD. But I hate the fact that I want to get the DVD but the reason I want to get the DVD is because apparently there's an interactive game on it.
Oh.
And I'm
fuck.
really curious about what that means. Like
I'll have to check it out. I don't
interactive
have the
game.
DVD.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm sure it's garbage, but I'm so curious.
Should
Like
I do a
I'm gonna have
playthrough?
to like.
video?
What was that?
Yes.
Should we do a playthrough video?
I'd be
Yeah.
curious. Yeah. Like
That'd be interesting.
I mean, like I said, it's probably terrible, but like I'm definitely like wondering how bad it could be. Like, and I'm also kind of curious to see the feature. This movie's an enigma to me because it's not often that I see movies that have literally zero thought was put into. Like, I just can't help but like, be charmed by it for some weird reason. I don't know why. So I think out of all the movies on this list, I've probably given way too much thought to this one, especially. Like,
Yeah,
so,
I'd say so.
yeah. But I think that just about covers it. Ballistic, Ecks versus Sever.
There you go.
The end. So
Yeah.
all right. Until next time. Peace out and lots of love.
Yep. Stay
Yeah.
safe and have a good one.
Yep. Wear your masks.
Yep.
All right. Bye.